Welcome to the Michigan Golfer Show. Join us each week as we explore the people, the places, and the events that shape our great game.
Jones wins the title.
You can saw in Stockton, California.
Greatest walk is the U.S. Amateur Champion. And the moral of the story, never, ever give up.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm John Bodenhammer. I have the privilege of serving as the USGA's Chief Championships Officer, and I would also like to welcome you all here to the magnificent Detroit Athletic Club. What a wonderful place. I've not been before, and it is a treat to be here, and really fitting today to be at this location, which was, as I understand it, the founding location of Oakland Hills Country Club back in 1916. Pretty ironic, but very fitting. Well, it's been a challenging time for Oakland Hills Country Club in recent weeks, and today we're about to share some wonderfully good news for the club, the USGA, and the game of golf. USGA championships are both aspirational and inspirational. They showcase and celebrate the world's best players and give them the stage for achieving their dreams. Players of all ages and all backgrounds, both individuals and teams alike, with our championships. In doing so, we host the national championships in America, showcasing the nation's very best golf courses, which we like to think are the cathedrals of the game. We love that term. That's a Jason Gore coined term. Today we're furthering a long-standing relationship that does just that. It pairs our best-in-class national championships with one of America's greatest championship venues, a true cathedral of the game that is Oakland Hills Country Club. In early January, we announced that 2 U.S. Women's Open championships in 2031 and 2042 would be going to Oakland Hills Country Club, which was during an historic announcement that included bringing ProMedica on as our presenting sponsor for the U.S. Women's Open. And we announced a record-setting, as you all recall, $10 million purse for that great championship, and elevating all aspects of the U.S. Women's Open and taking it to some of the game's greatest and iconic venues as well. Very proud of that. But it doesn't end there for the USGA and Oakland Hills Country Club. We have a long and proud history together, as many of you know, and today we're thrilled to announce 6 more championships for a total of 8 championships over the next 29 years. Wow. We will truly embrace, in an amazing way, our longtime friend and partner at Oakland Hills Country Club, and please allow me the honor to announce the following. Oakland Hills Country Club will host the 2024 U.S. Junior Amateur Championship, the 2029 U.S. Women's Amateur, and yes, the 2034 U.S. Open will return to Oakland Hills, the 2038 U.S. Girls Junior Championship, the 2047 U.S. Amateur Championship, and believe it or not, the 2051 U.S. Open Championship. The monster will be celebrated in 2051, and I plan to be there to see it. Of course, added to that are the 2031 and 2042 U.S. Women's Opens for that run of amazing 8 championships with what is a long-term strategic partnership that we're very proud of with Oakland Hills Country Club. What a lineup. It's not every day that the USGA announces 6 televised USGA championships, well, 8 in all. And in this case, it really is something that is unique, but really most unique is the special playing field that Donald Ross said, "I rarely find a property so well suited for a golf course." All of us at the USGA agree. It is a testament to our relationship with Oakland Hills in the incredible history that we share together. And I might mention that this run of championships that you see behind me is quite special on a number of fronts. It represents on every front our player journey, strategically the way that we look at it. You think about our relationship with the players. It's a strategic priority in that building relationships when they're playing in our junior championships, up through our amateur championships, and then the Opens. it builds a case with them about what we do for the game, in conducting championships, and much more to grow the game. There's also an important play on equity, and Oakland Hills has a proud history with women's golf, and we plan to further that. I'm proud to say that the USGA has been about the game since day one, 1894, when we were founded. The U.S. Amateur was our first championship, and oh, by the way, the next day as an afterthought, the U.S. Open was first played, and a few days later was the U.S. Women's Amateur. We've been about the game, men and women together, since day one. We're very proud of that, and that's showcased with this lineup. As you all might imagine, it has been a multi-year journey between the USGA and Oakland Hills that has culminated in today's announcement. Reaching this agreement with Oakland Hills Country Club several months ago was a milestone moment for us in the club. Given the breadth of these championships today, it's just remarkable. Given everything the club has been through in the last few weeks, we are honored they wanted to move forward with this announcement and this run of championships in the years that we originally discussed. It's quite amazing. There are many that have played an integral part, and they're too numerous to mention, those from Oakland Hills, but let me mention just a few. Gil Hans and his partner, Jim Wagner. We know Gil and Jim very well through their work at some of the greatest places in the game. And we admire not only their work, but the time and care they take to do the research necessary to truly achieve something special and remarkable in restoring special places to their architectural origins. And Gil, kudos, you've done that at Oakland Hills Country Club in restoring this Donald Ross masterpiece. Past President Tom Stacy led the initial charge 5 years ago, where we really initiated in an intentional way discussions with the club. I'll never forget, he and a group of leaders, Don Noble, a few others, Mike Dietz, others, joined us at our annual meeting in 2017 in San Antonio, armed with plans in hand that Gil had shared with them, and asked what would it take to restore our relationship. Tom, thank you for asking that question. We stand here today because of that question. Mike Dietz, past president who followed Tom, whose indomitable and positive spirit and amazing connections here in Motown reintroduced us to Detroit and gave all of us at the USGA the faith that the U.S. Open could return to Detroit and thrive at Oakland Hills Country Club. We couldn't be more excited. Thank you, Mike, for giving us that jump start. And certainly Rick Palmer, current president at Oakland Hills, his steady, no-nonsense leadership has been there from the start. It'll be needed now more than ever in a time of renewal for Oakland Hills Country Club as they rebuild their clubhouse. Thank you for your friendship, Rick. It means the world. And I can't leave out the staff. Steve Brady, head golf professional whose hospitality and expertise as a player has been second to none throughout the process. Thank you, Steve. Phil Cafare, director of agronomy, who worked closely with Gil and Jim to bring Gil's work to life at Oakland Hills Country Club. I remember stepping out on some of Phil's turf nurseries a couple of years ago and seeing the various strains of grasses that Phil had cultivated to go into some of what Gil was imagining. And just bravo, Phil, for bringing Gil's work and Jim's work to life. Just really, really amazing, amazing work. And then our buddy Christine Cooler, general manager at Oakland Hills. From past history, we know Christine very well, and we know her to be a dynamic leader. She's the right person at the right time in this moment to lead Oakland Hills. And she will raise up a new clubhouse along with their amazing team on the board and the membership. And from ashes will come triumph. And we thank Christine for her leadership and her friendship. We look forward to working with her for many years to come. Our history with Oakland Hills Country Club dates back to 1924. The club has hosted 11 USGA National Championships, including 6 U.S. Opens. Now think about this. When we bring the U.S. Open back here in 2034, it will be 110 years after hosting one here in 1924. Amazing to see a venue with a 110-year history with the U.S. Open. There aren't many of those. And when we stage U.S. Open here in, yes, 2051, it will be 100 years since Ben Hogan tamed the monster in an historic and memorable championship on which later he stated, as some of his remarks included, the toughest 18 holes he had ever seen. Pretty strong from a guy who may be the greatest ball striker that ever lived, at least one of them. You've heard me say this before, excuse me, You've heard me say this before, but the USGA believes that our venues differentiate our championships from all others. Doesn't matter where a player wins his or her USGA championship. It does matter where they win. As Nick Price said in our championship committee meeting, it does matter where they win their US Open, men or women. Those special moments from the past, whether they're Hogan or Palmer or Nicklaus, those are special moments, and those ghosts of the past do matter to the players. They want to win where those special moments have been created. It makes their championship win, whether an Open or an amateur, that much more special. And those ghosts wander the property at Oakland Hills Country Club. And we look forward to making more memories. We could not be more proud and excited that 8 more players are going to be able to say that they earned their USGA title at Oakland Hills Country Club. Not only joining the likes of Ben Hogan, Glenna Collette-Vare, Gene Littler, Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus, Steve Jones, yes, Andy North, to name just a few. It really is an amazing time of renewal, and we look forward to celebrating all of that and more with our great partner at Oakland Hills Country Club. Without further ado, I'd like to now introduce Club President Rick Palmer to take it away. Rick?
Wow. What a great day to be a member at Oakland Hills Country Club. 8 championships, including 2 U.S. Opens in 2034 and 2051. To go along with our privilege to announce, as John mentioned, 2 U.S. Women's Opens Championship, and a 29-year partnership with the USGA. We are thrilled, excited, and honored. Thank you very much. And I also want to say to John and Mark, you guys coming to Detroit to stand with us and make this announcement in our great city is extraordinarily appreciated. We thank you. It really is a great way to end what's been kind of an emotional month for us. It comes to mind, I'm pretty humbled today. I kind of feel like the offensive lineman that recovered a fumble in the end zone and the referee blew the whistle and said, "Hey, we won the game," because there are so many people that have made this moment possible, and at the risk of ignoring probably many, I do want to acknowledge a few. As you know, an announcement like this is not just for Oakland Hills, it's for the golf community in Michigan, and it's for the great community and sports town of Southeast Michigan with its economic benefit. Pleased today that Chris Whitten, the Executive Director of the Golf Association of Michigan, and Dave Beechnow, the Executive Director of the Detroit Sports Commission, could be here for the announcement. Secondly, I'll repeat a little bit because John and I didn't rehearse. So our professional staff, Phil Gaffari, Director of Agronomy, Steve Brady, our head professional, member of the Michigan Golf Hall of Fame, and 2-time U.S. Open participant as a player, and Christine Pooler, our general manager, COO. They have been intricately involved every step of the way, conference calls, meetings, course tours, and your input has been invaluable. We're pleased to have you all. Next, my board of directors that's here, and many of our past presidents and their board of directors, and in particular, our future championship committee, co-chaired by Tom Stacy and Mike Dietz. Your leadership in getting us to this process has been the driving force, and we thank you for that. But most importantly, to our members. 6 years ago, we started on a process. Our resolve was to make Oakland Hills a better place than when we found it, as stewards of the members. We did have a secondary goal to make it, the restoration, so viable that it would be a viable option and considered for hosting future major championships. I will point out it was amazing that Gil and Jim, through their meetings, and John and Mark and Jeff Hall and Jason Gore, through all their meetings, their message to us was entirely consistent. Do what's best for your members at Oakland Hills. Don't make course design decisions on the basis of hoping to host a major championship. Well, it was our secondary goal, and here we are. So we're pretty pleased with that. And to conclude my remarks, I would like you to allow me to read from our vision statement that was put in by our members some 40 years ago. And it reads in part, Our golf courses and members have played and will continue to play an integral part in the history of golf in the United States. We are dedicated to providing the resources to preserve our courses as championship venues to host state, national, and international championships. My fellow members at Oakland Hills, I said job well done. At this point, I'm pleased to welcome the architect for the restoration of the South Course, Mr. Gilhans.
Thank you, Rick. Thanks, everybody. It is indeed a great day for the Oakland Hills Country Club. Excited to be here. As been mentioned, it's been about 6 years. Charlie Fritz was the president. We were interviewing at that point in time to be involved in the restoration of the golf course, and I think the thing that we talked an awful lot about was Donald Ross. And Ross's input in the design and the quality of what he built, and obviously the magnificence of his creation on the south, but also on the north. And so from that standpoint, we looked at what can we do through the prism of looking at Donald Ross and the original design to create, first and foremost, a great golfing experience for the membership, and then secondly, look at what it takes to host a major championship at this point in time. We had a little bit of a detour on the way. Appropriately, the membership wanted us to take a second look at the master plan, and we did so, and I think ultimately it turned out that it was better. It made the project better, it made the outcome better, and it ultimately made this a result that I think all the membership at Oakland Hills can feel very proud of. So from that standpoint, we researched, we looked at the 1929 U.S.Opens amateur program, which came our way through the archives of the club. We really tried the best that we possibly could to put back what Donald Ross had created. We had some great talented people working with us out on the golf course, principally from our standpoint. Kai Golby and Blake Conant did a lot of the shaping work out on the course, and their passion and their attention to detail frequently was maddening to me. But at the end of the day, it really made sure that everything turned out for the best. And as I'm always accompanied on this journey, my partner, Jim Wagner, is as responsible for any success and any of the things that we get to do in this business and the places that we get to work. So Jim's around, so feel free to talk to him later on as well, because everything we do, Jim makes better. When you work on a project and you spend time, when we look back on this, we were talking about being down here at the DAC, and I was fully expecting the summer of 2020 was going to be spent coming down to baseball games and really having a good time in downtown Detroit. Then this pandemic thing got in the way, so I spent a lot more time driving from my home in Philadelphia to Detroit because of the lack of air travel, or at least worried about air travel, than I did actually going to any baseball games or spending any time downtown. But it was an interesting time for us to do a project. I mean, everybody was so focused on what was happening on site. We were very involved in all of the details. And our partner in that as well was Phil Cavari, the golf course superintendent, and his team. And I can honestly say that we have rarely worked with a team as dedicated and as competent in doing what they do, but also grasping and understanding the architectural work that was being done. Never letting any detail go unnoticed, making sure that we got everything right and that we put everything in the ground in the right way, all the infrastructural improvements that occurred that the membership supported and put in. So from that standpoint, our partner in the dirt, Phil, your whole team, they were amazing. We get to superintendents, unfortunately, in my mind, I think they're the least appreciated people in our business. As architects, we get to stand up here and make speeches and kiss babies and shake hands, but at the end of the day, it's the superintendents who make our work come to life. And our partnership with Phil and his team is one that we treasure on a personal level, but on a professional level, we understand fully how it's made our work better. Steve Brady, a golf pro extraordinaire. I didn't realize about the Hall of Fame stuff. I would have treated him with a little more respect if I knew all that. We actually got him out there with a shovel and a rake, helping us on a few of the greens. For him to jump in and contribute like that, but also anytime we needed anything from the perspective of how do the members play the golf course, how do they appreciate it, how do they understand it, he was extremely helpful in all of that information. So thank you for your input. Christine, John, you're absolutely right. You're the right person in the right place for what's unfortunately occurred, but I have no doubts that you're going to make it better, and it's going to be a better place at the end of the day. The leadership, Rick, Mike, Tom, all the guys who stuck with us through the entire process, the board who gave us the freedom and the flexibility to make decisions in the field, because at the end of the day, that's where the real stuff happens. You know, you have a plan in your hand and you have a concept and an idea, but when you're physically building, something occurs to you or something comes up or something can possibly be made better, we couldn't have asked for more support than we got from the leadership at the club. And from that standpoint, I want to say thank you to all of you. It's a fun day for us. It's an exciting day. It's not in any way, shape, or form a culmination of the work that we've done. This is an ongoing process, and we're excited to be partnered with the club and be partnered with the USGA and trying to make all the championships that are going to occur here better. So thank you, and with that, man who needs no introduction, you're going to introduce him.
Thanks also to Rick and to John. It's such an exciting day. I personally, as someone who has been a part of several USGA championships at Oakland Hills, and I hope that the sense of friendship and true camaraderie that exists between the USGA and Oakland Hills and all of the wonderful people there comes through today. We are genuinely excited to be making this announcement. And 29 years, John, I'll be right there with you. I'll be there in 2051 as well. So we look forward to many, many more years to come. Before we start our question and answer session, I would like to introduce a very special guest who knows a fair bit about memorable moments of USGA championships at Oakland Hills. Andy North, who counts among his professional victories the 1978 and 1985 U.S. Open championships. In 1985 at Oakland Hills, Andy was the only player to finish under par en route to his one-shot victory. I'd like to welcome Andy to the stage.
Thank you. Sit down. That's nice. Thank you.
Everyone will get to sit. So, and I think we have a quick video to run for everyone.
Oh, God.
Feet above, ball tends to slide out and go right. Oh, my goodness! What a shot.
Here today. I'm sure watching that brings back some memories, evokes some
memories. Who was that guy up there, actually?
Can you offer a few thoughts and recollections about your victory at Oakland Hills?
I think before I get started there, I want to congratulate Oakland Hills and the USGA for making great decisions. The job that Gil and his team did, Phil, I mean, to get all this back on track where we needed it, I'm really excited for that. The fact that the first junior amateur I played in was 56 years ago, and to have been able to play it at Oakland Hills, where Charlie Woods will probably be the favorite in 24, it would have been unbelievable. It was a great experience, but to be able to play those championships as kids at Oakland Hills and some of the other great venues that we're going to have it at, is congratulations to USGA for doing that.
Thank you.
All right, now we're ready for whatever.
Perfect. So, yeah, who was that guy? That was certainly the wonderful 1985 U.S. Open champion at Oakland Hills. Can you offer some recollections about that week and what being a USGA champion at Oakland Hills means?
You know, after I won in '78, I played okay for a while. I had a whole bunch of injuries. You know, got barbecued in the press for being terrible. You know, some of the things that happened. But anyway, I'd come back at an operation, came back in '85 and really played some really good golf through the '85 season. So really good tournaments, but more so really was playing some good golf. And the week before at Westchester, I had missed the cut and was staying with some friends, and we went up and spent the Saturday fiddling around, looking at some property and some, you know, just killing the day. And about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I said, you know, I need to go to Detroit. I want to get there so I can spend some time tomorrow and figure out what I'm doing. And I got in late Saturday night, went to the golf course Sunday morning, and I think I was the first person there. I went to the range, hit some balls, and sort of figured out what I was doing. You know, you have one of those magical moments that everybody who's ever played this stupid game has, you know, at one point in time or another, and sort of figured out what I needed to do, and I hit 15 or 20 balls that, you know, all of a sudden it felt like you wanted to feel like, and I really felt good about what I was doing. I went back to the hotel and put together a practice plan for the week. And my idea is I wanted to get as much done as I possibly could do without spending very much time at the golf course. And so often at major championships, you spend all day out there because it takes so long to play practice rounds. It's just, you know, it's 6 hours, 7 hours to get around the golf course, which makes no sense to me. So I decided I was going to play late in the evenings. I went back out Sunday afternoon and played 9 holes at about 5 o'clock. Only person there, hit extra chips, extra putts, whatever you needed to do to try to figure out what you're doing. I did the same thing all week long. I played back 9 at 7:30 in the morning on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then played the front 9 late in the day. And I felt like we had some rain come in on Wednesday. I was completely prepared to play, and very seldom do you get to, you know, you try to get your game to where it's at a great point going to majors. That's what all the players try to do. But it very seldom happens. Sometimes it's too early, sometimes it's too late. I felt like this was one of the first times in my career I absolutely knew what I wanted to do. I knew how to play the golf course. I'd figured out when I played in the PGA 5-6 years earlier there, I had no idea how to play the golf course, and I ended up missing the cut. And I walked away going like, "Well, I can't stand this place. You know, what am I doing?" But I figured out how I wanted to play the golf course, and I was able to go out there the first 3 days and execute exactly what I wanted to do. I played beautifully. I think I led the field in greens hit, regulations, fairways hit, all the things you need to do at a U.S. Open to compete well. The first 3 rounds, and then got up Sunday morning and went to the range and had absolutely nothing. I couldn't find it. I had no idea what I was, you know, you think you have an idea what you, but you're struggling. I didn't hit very many solid shots, and I really struggled the first 11 holes. I think I was, what would I have been, 4 over maybe the first 11 holes, and I had let everybody back in the golf tournament. And I hit it in the right-hand bunker that doesn't exist at 12 anymore, off the tee, and hit a 5-iron out of that bunker to lay up down in that area, in that valley short where you've got a 9-iron or pitching wedge left. And the shot I hit out of the bunker at 12 all of a sudden felt right. You know, it was one of those things, you had a good feeling again. I hit a beautiful 3rd shot in there, missed a short putt for birdie. Then at the 13th hole, I hit a 5-iron about 12 feet from the hole, made that for birdie. And from that point on, I hit the ball really, really solidly the rest of the way. And you know, it's funny in this game how you completely can lose it, and you can get it back somehow, and that's what makes it magical. That, you know, when you think you've got to figure it out, you're in big trouble. You know, that's usually the case. And when you're completely lost, that's when guys come back and win golf tournaments. So it was a magical week for me. So many things went right that week. Obviously, you have to have the help of other players sometimes, and TC helped out quite a bit. Any of you are old enough to remember that. But all in all, it was a great experience, and it's something that you take an awful lot of pride in, to be able to win on a great golf course. And I think that's the first time anybody had broken par at Oakland Hills in a major championship. So that was pretty cool.